Welcome back, everybody, to the Binding of Isaac Randomizer, a mod that makes every single achievement unlocked in a different method. If you missed the full breakdown of what this mod does, you can watch the previous video on the channel, but regardless of all of that, we're going to be doing a Jacob and Esau run, I think, to get some more, hopefully, character unlocks here, but also beating Mom's heart as every new character gives you a new unlock, so no matter what happens on this run, as long as we don't die early, we should be getting something new. Seed, by the way, is going to be HRR0GTT6. Here we go. First item, Martyr. Miter, not Martyr. What am I saying? Really good to get early on, I guess, but you know, we have enough power. We're playing as literally two different characters right now. I will preface this off and say I have not played as these two characters in a very long time, so if I make some big blunders, you gotta forgive me. I'm used to playing Dante, which will probably make me mess up even more as the double hitbox happens here, but regardless of all of that, again, if you missed the first part of this series, it's going to explain like what the actual goal is here and how many things we have to realistically go for, so it'll be the last video in the Isaac playlist on the channel. But what I wanted to talk about today is not the game. I know, what the heck, BD1P is not going to talk about Isaac in a Binding of Isaac episode? Who would have thought this is even possible? Who would have envisioned this even happening? But hey, look at that. Enough rocks for a Robo Baby unlock right there. Classic. Is a certain voice actor. Now, this voice actor is one of my favorites, like, ever. Probably one of the best to ever do it in terms of, like, character and making an impact. Who recently also, unfortunately, passed away. That being Kevin Conroy. Mostly known for his role as Batman in Batman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, the Justice League TV show, Batman and Robin Adventures, Mask of the Phantasm. Basically, he was Batman. He is the voice you think of. Like, when you think of Batman, or you read a Batman comic panel, you're thinking of either his voice in your head or Christian Bale's, like, goofy, a Batman voice. It's one of those two. For me, it was always Kevin Conroy's voice. Now, fun fact, I didn't grow up watching the animated series. A little bit. I grew up watching a couple of episodes whenever they were on, like, TV or whatever it may be. But primarily, actually, I'll do this, and then this, and then this. Primarily, though, the Batman show that I would watch the most as a kid was definitely Batman the Brave and the Bold. And I don't think it was Kevin Conroy in that show. It was definitely somebody else. It's a very distant memory at this point. And I'll give that show some props. I don't really like how Batman was in that show. Like, I don't really enjoy the characters, but the designs for the villains are top-notch. My favorite Joker design ever is from Batman the Brave and the Bold. I mean, that long green hair, like, it's a classic to me. Honestly, it is, yo. I have higher tier rates, so it'll go to my Jacob boy. But I genuinely think that Batman the Brave and the Bold is the best designed villains in the entire Batman mythos. But regardless of all that, again, we're talking about the master himself, Kevin Conroy. He did pass away recently, which was very sad, but I think with that happening, it leaves a lot of room for you to look back on a legacy like that and just appreciate, you know, how much that one person, that one voice might have done for a character. For example, Batman the Animated Series. I've been watching it for the first time, actually. I'm on season 2 right now. I think totally I've watched like 82 episodes in the last month, but I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I do. I've always been a fan of animated media. I've always really enjoyed, like, superhero animated stuff over, like, live action to an insane degree, with Spider-Verse being, like, one of the best superhero films ever made, and, you know, a lot of, like, the DC animated TV shows being just very, very top-notch. I've always appreciated the, who is alive? You get back here, you fool. Get a devil deal here, hopefully, and get some strong power off the bat. But I've really always appreciated the animated medium for that kind of stuff. But I think you're less likely to get heavily invested in a show like that because it was your Saturday morning cartoon. It was your 20-minute episode every week, and that was it. Now, granted, I do enjoy stuff like that, but it has a weirdly acquired taste, I would say, when it comes to a long-term enjoyment of stuff like that. This is actually really, really good to get. We're going to have some strong-ass builds going on here. Can I have this, please? I can't really go... Yeah, we'll leave this floor. It's hard to get, like, I think, heavily invested off the bat. But I will say, once I change my lighting here... Oh, there we go. I will say, after watching the first episode of the show, I kind of was like, all right, this is pretty fun. I'll watch another, and I'll watch another, and I'll watch another. And there's just something so endearing about the way that Conroy plays Batman. And the way the show is, I think in general, just written and directed, because, like, you gain a genuine sympathy for the villains at a certain point. I'm gonna stand right here. I don't want to walk through that as two big hitboxes, but you get a genuine understanding of the villains. They make a point to, whenever a villain is captured, to really hone in on the fact that, like, they're deranged, they're not in their right mind, they can be reformed. I think Season 2's opening episode, actually, is Poison Ivy being reformed. Like, there's sympathy, It's not just, like, he's going out and hunting down a bunch of criminals and bad people and just putting them in jail for no reason. No, these are people. And the show does a great job of showing you that, like, they are individual people as well. I mean, it tackles, I would say, in the limited screen time that Harley Quinn has in this show, in terms of, like, every other villain, they tackle the toxicity between, like, Joker and her better than the actual Harley Quinn TV show does. Like, it is... There's moments where you're like, they're just, like, they're not holding back. Like, they're telling you, like, Harley, hey, this dude's, like, he's mean. Like, he's like, actually abusive to you. And she goes, nah, that's just how my pudding is. It's like, there's real conversations being had. There's real sympathy being shown. There's just humanity in the show. And I think that's what kind of, like, sets it apart from a lot of the other mediums for Batman. It shows a strong sense of humanity. And I think going along with that, the number one thing I enjoy about this show is that it doesn't just show Batman, saving the day. It's not just Batman goes and wins. He makes a lot of mistakes. This is, like, definitely an early Batman. He's making mistakes. He's, not watching his six. He's floundering sometimes. But every single time Batman gets knocked down or gets, like, hurt, it's always a random citizen that helps him. It could be Jim Gordon, it could be Alfred, it could be Dick Grayson, but more often than not, it's some random kid or some random, like, hallway janitor helping Batman back up and getting him back on the streets. It's that relationship between, Gotham doesn't just need Batman, like, Batman needs Gotham. It's that kind of mentality that I think really sets it apart from everything else. Like, there's an episode where the Penguin neutralizes Batman with, like, a sleeping agent for, like, 2 days and is about to kill him. And a random two kids, like, find Batman, bring him back to their house, and keep him safe and fight off, like, these fully grown Penguin goons to keep Batman safe. They appreciate him. He's not just, like, always on the fringe and everybody in the city's, like, oh, I hate the Batman, or he's like, he should have that much power. They appreciate what he does. Like, I think what we see a lot in Batman media that I think that the Batman did well, and I think this show does well is the fact that we touch on, I think there's been too many versions of the public turning against Batman, and I think The Dark Knight Rises kind of really popularized that trope, and it's like, hey, oh, Batman's not that good because one time he made a mistake. There's a lot of media showing that Batman is public enemy number one. But I like the times where the public acknowledges that he's just, like, he is doing genuine good. And they hammer that point home a lot. There's a very famous episode of the show called The Trial, I believe, where Arkham inmates capture Batman and the acting DA of Gotham. And that's huge for us. And what they do in this episode is they hold a trial for Batman in Arkham Asylum with Joker as the judge. And they're trying to prove the point that Batman is evil because Batman created all of these villains. Like, the only reason that they exist is because Batman makes them exist. But they make compelling arguments for both sides, but in the end, they discover that no matter if Batman was there or not, these people would still be evil on the streets. The gimmicks may be different. You know, Clayface may not have clay for face, but they'd still be out doing bad things because they're criminals. And although you can make a case for it being like, well, he encourages that behavior, he's doing more good than he is doing harm. Okay, we can actually get this. And I'm going to show you how. But I don't want to mess up and then miss out on the boss fight. But we can actually get Evil Eye. It's a trick that, you know, it's not utilized in Isaac too much. When are you ever trying to dodge a trap door like that? Rarely ever, but I can show you guys a little bit of a peek at what professional Binding of Isaac players may do in a situation not unlike that one down there. And I'll give you it straight, all right? I'll give you this situation. I'll give you this little tidbit without any sugarcoating. This is good for us. We don't want to have our other guy have any red hearts on him, but watch this. No keys, which blows. Can we go in here first actually and get a key, maybe? Hilarious. All right, let's not mess this up, shall we? I want you right there. Got it. So, if you don't know what happened there... Oh, I want this card, though. Okay, there goes both of our cards. Great. If you're holding an item above your head, whether it be a card or a pill or an actual item, you won't go down trap doors. So you can actually like, drop a card or a trinket, pick it up, and walk over those gaps. We have Evil Eye, though, which is more luck for us and also will make, like, I don't think poison affects us anymore or, like, any kind of like AoE damage will no longer affect us, which is not great in the early game, mainly because you're not going to be fighting a lot of poison enemies or a lot of fear enemies without being on the mausoleum or the corpse. But, you know, I guess the luck upgrade counts for something in there, right? Going back to our conversation, though, I like that they don't have too much focusing on Batman being the public enemy. There actually is an episode, I think it's a Man-Bat one, where they don't frame Batman, but like the public thinks if a giant bat is attacking Gotham, we really only know of one giant bat, and that's Batman. But because Batman's legacy is so strong and it all precedes him in this town, like people know it's not the Bat. He doesn't do that, and everyone pretty much defends him. Besides the obvious like Harvey Bullock or the DA or whatever. But you know, there had to be some doubters in the universe for it to be. It has some conflict in the episode at the very least. But regardless of all of that, I mean, the show it's uplifting. And, you know, just not even talking about Kevin Conroy's influence yet, this show is amazing. Like, it's everything I want in a Batman show. It's episodic, like, while it's loosely tied together by much. Like, it's very, every episode you watch of the show can stand on its own. The plot threads still continue over. Like, if a character dies, they don't come back. There's continuity to it. Hello, friend. Which I think is the best way to do a show like that, is have everything stand alone on its own and be fine, and also allow for, you know, longer story arcs to take place. Like, for example, if you know, Ra's al Ghul gets trapped in prison. Next time you see him, he should be in prison. It works really well. Actually, can I do one of these, maybe? You get up here. If I would have gotten lucky there on this save file, I would have jumped in the air and clicked my heels together live on camera for all of you. Let that be a promise to the rest of you. Whenever I get magic mushroom here on out from a mushroom, I'll do like an Irish heel click in the air. Just for you. Just for you. That's right. A little special treat from me to the lovely BD1P viewers. But again, like I think this show is fantastic. I think if you haven't watched it, you should watch it. It's even if you're not a big Batman fan, it might make you a Batman fan. It made me a bigger Batman fan, that's for sure. And there also is, I think, the the Bruce Timm Superman show, Superman All-Star, I think is what it's called. I could be wrong there. I'm not too familiar with Superman himself. I know a little bit about him, but I would not call myself a, how do I do this? A Superman expert by any means, but it's great. Now we can finally talk about the main, who has piercing? So it goes to you. This is going to be pretty good for us. We can talk about the whole reason I wanted to have this conversation in the first place, and that is because of Kevin Conroy. Now, he's a big, inspiration. I didn't grow up watching the show, but when I got old enough to go back and watch stuff he's been in, I learned about him as a person, and he's a very inspirational person. To say the very, very, very least. He worked his ass off to get to the point where he was in voice acting. I mean, he was blackballed from so many stuff for being gay. There was a storyboard he drew, actually. I don't remember what the context was, but it was about how he auditioned for a certain voice acting role, and when the lead director or project coordinator got back to him, they just started calling him like gay slurs because of who he was, and he that was before he got his big role as Batman too. And I can't imagine how stupid that person must have felt when just about 2 weeks ago they had his name on the fucking Empire State Building because he was so influential to everything. He was such a household name when it came to not just Batman but just voice acting. He was such an integral part of a lot of people's childhoods and even growing up lives. But the interesting thing about him that I think is very, very apparent when you watch the Batman animated series is he doesn't have a Batman voice. He has more of a Bruce Wayne voice. When he's playing Batman, it sounds like he's talking normally. The Bruce Wayne voice sounds like it's an act. There was so much committal to that role. And Bruce Wayne is an important part of Batman. I'm not going to say it's not, but when you're watching a Batman show, it's nice to see Batman be the leading personality over, billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne or whatever the hell they say. How did that not work? You're trolling? Okay, it actually worked that time. We'll go on Mr. Tech X. If one of you dies, the rest of you also die. Hey, I'm actually a fan of this item. Look at that, dude. We skipped our shop, it looks like. Maybe not. Oh, okay. Yep. My dodging is not the greatest, which is why I want to do this early. If I knock out these two characters early, then I will do it before we unlock Everything is Terrible, and we'll get some more unlocks done through that. Okay, we did miss our shop, which I totally should go back for because we need to start pumping money into that baby so we can get all the locked achievements behind that. And there's no better way to do it than in the early game, am I right? Yeah, I'm not going to be paying for Boomerang. Did they reduce shop prices for stuff? Is that a new patch thing? Boomerang is not 10 cents. Every item in here should be 15. I'm an old head. I don't like this newfangled technology, I'll tell you what. Let's go fight our boss. What floor are we on? Depths 1? Easy, dude. We're not making boss rush today, but we're still going at a decent pace. For Jacob and Esau, for sure. But it's nice to see a show where the leading personality is Batman, and there's very little struggle between Bruce Wayne and the Batman character. There's not a lot going on that would make you think that he's trying to live two lives. He does it very effortlessly, which is very fun to watch because you get more time with the villains then if you're not watching the internal Bruce Wayne struggle. Now again, that's an important part of the character, obviously, having the Bruce Wayne and the Batman side clash a little bit, but it's not like it needs to happen in every media form. And there are episodes where they do that. They have Bruce Wayne gets kidnapped and his identity is revealed or whatever, and they got to undo that somehow. It's interesting. There's a whole episode where Dr. Hugo Strange figures out that Batman is Bruce Wayne, and they have to figure out a way to be oh no, he was just joking. He's not actually Bruce Wayne. I'm Batman. It's some random guy, right? It's really fun to watch him navigate that. in a very, like, somehow both goofy and serious way. Like, this show is very cartoonish. It's a cartoon, obviously. But, like, there's the Joker. He has these plots of, like, bombing, you know, all of Gotham. But when he tries to do the bombing, he'll put on, like, a goofy little outfit, and he'll start, like, reciting Shakespeare or some shit, right? It's like, that wouldn't be what would actually happen. He'd be a little bit more, you know, serious about it. But it's fun because these villains and these other characters, they're all to be free in this show. And I appreciate that a lot. I like when, you know, you're allowed to have these very tense situations, but also have it be funny. I don't know. I'm partial to that kind of stuff. I think it's really fun, and it allows for a lot more of like the character traits and the tropes to shine through in the best way possible. You know, a lot of Batman characters, they're gimmicks. You know, like Joker's a goofy guy. Clayface is like the shapeshifter. They got little gimmicks going on. Now, I'm not going to deny that they're not gimmicks, but when those gimmicks come out, oh god, okay, I gotta get like synced up here. When those gimmicks do come out, there we go, we got it all the way through there. In the animated series, they feel like they're just done right, and they're just over the top enough where you can believe that all these guys are insane, but it still entertains you, you know, without making you feel too grim about, you know, these insane people going wild, or feel like it's not taking itself seriously enough. For whatever a superhero cartoon can be serious about. You know what I'm trying to say. It's a genuine joy to walk the line between serious story threads and goofy characters. And I really think a lot of modern Batman media could learn from that. I think The Batman did a great job of letting the Riddler be goofy and also at the same time serious. I think that was a great touch they had. But Batman the Animated Series does it better. You guys know how much I love the Batman movie. I think the Batman movie is like peak, but I think the animated series still does it better. And I like Kevin Conroy's Batman more than Robert Pattinson. Although I think Pattinson's a great Batman. You guys, you don't see the vision yet, all right? You Pattinson haters, you don't get it. He's perfect. Almost. He's not Kevin Conroy, but he's perfect. And you know what's crazy too is like Kevin Conroy got to play a live-action Batman in the CW Crisis storyline. He was great. Like, as awful as the CW shows are, I watched like every show up until Crisis, besides Supergirl, because oh man, is that show bad. But I watched every show up until Crisis, just so I could understand Kevin Conroy's place. That's how much, like, how influential he is to the Batman name in general. This is the worst room of all time, dude. Holy. Break the rocks, maybe? I'm just going to head on down. We should be fine. Probably no Shoal. There's no reason to go to Shoal. We can unlock Darkroom early, I guess, for going to Shoal, then do Forgotten, but still. There's not much reason to go to Shoal, I don't think. We can also kind of cheat, I'm realizing. We have Teleporter, and also we have Good Trip installed, so we could teleport if we go a wrong direction, just go back to start, but hey, you know, I'll take the risk associated with teleport instead. I think it's more fun that way. I won't cheat. Fine. You've convinced me, myself. Give me a good item here. HP. I want you. Well, I'll take that. You can have that. I need more HP on my #1 guy, but you can have this one. And, excuse me, in case you see like a good devil deal. That's my bad. A little bit congested right now. Oh, my least favorite item in the entire game, but I'll take for the meme value. We don't need money anymore, so I guess it's fine. Get synced back up, please. There we go. Oh, we got a healer already. I thought healers were unlocked through Everything is Terrible. I'm learning so much today about Isaac. But it's a genuinely fantastic show, and I think Conroy is the definitive version of Batman. Now, who's the Batman we're seeing in the new Flash movie? Is that Oh, it was one of the live-action actors. It's not George Clooney. It's, why can't I think of his name? It's gonna bother me forever now. I watched I watched every Batman movie. I can't think of this one actor's name. One of the most influential actors. Michael Keaton. It's Keaton. We're seeing Michael Keaton. Is it gonna be down here? I'll take the risk, I guess. Michael Keaton's live-action Batman. In, oh, be careful here. in the new Flash movie, which I'll go see it just to be disappointed, I guess. But hey, cool. I think it's gonna be as fun to watch Keaton's return as it is whenever Kevin Conroy would come back as Batman for a project, because Keaton is also like, Batman is such an interesting character in media. Just going off of like the meta of like who's played him and stuff, he is such an interesting story to tell. Because like you have actors like Clooney who are depressed that they think they ruined Batman. Then you have Keaton who like loved the role and, you know, always wanted to come back. And then you have like Christian Bale who made the funny voice and is probably the most popular version of Batman still. Then you have Batfleck, who I think is pretty cool, but nobody else sees the freaking vision. Like, he's such a fun... He has so many different variations, I guess, that you can, like, refer to when talking just about Batman. Alright, I'll take the 2-room up. Give me a second here. Why don't we do this? Is it going to be this way? I guess it kind of has to. Do I risk the secondary teleport here? Which could either greatly speed up or reduce my speed in this run. Screw it. Okay. Oh, we made it back to where we just were. I get some good bombing here for these guys as well. To maybe unlock an item in the future from bombing a bunch of shopkeepers. Look at that, dude. Is there an achievement for having 99... Oh, there's the beat a run without picking up, like, any keys thing for Ace of Spades, I think. Is that an actual thing? I think that's a real thing. I gotta just not pick up keys for a while. We can try that soon. Okay, I was split up there. That was a little bit rough. I am now looking a bit more dire on my secondary character, but this is like potentially our last boss fight, depending on if we get a good deal chance or not, so I'm not too upset about that. Let's just go in and fight. Yeah, we do enough damage here. It's not a crazy amount. We're not even killing the eyes in one cycle, but I think it's good enough. Okay, we're taking a lot of damage now. Like a lot more than I want to be. Get you in front. Well, as long as you're blocking the hits and not the other guy, I don't care what happens. Okay. Alright. How are you supposed to fight this normally as these characters? Dude, what is this? Ay. Well, we got Node's portal there, so the Jacob and sound tilt comes back. What do we get for this kill? Alabaster box. Is that the normal unlock? I think you get Alabaster box from like beating Isaac or Satan as Jacob and Esau. But either way, we got some more stuff unlocked there. No new characters besides this girl, but we can play as her soon. Do we have an Eden token? We have tokens, it's not the character unlock. All right, cool. Well, if you enjoyed the episode, a like and a comment goes a long way for a small channel like mine. In the meantime, though, I have been BD1P. Peace out, and goodbye.